How to survive in federal prison. When you're sentenced to federal prison, you're becoming the property of the Bureau of Prisons. If you have been given a federal sentence, then most likely you'll be spending several years in prison. With that said, if you know what to prepare for and come ready, life in prison will be much easier. In this video, we'll share with you the complete guide to surviving in federal prison. We'll start with getting ready for prison and continue to surviving in prison. Let's begin. Bite your tongue. If the judge doesn't allow you to self-surrender to the prison where you have been designated, you'll be handed over to the U.S. Marshal Service. Do not speak to a marshal or let them overhear a conversation about your case or anything else for that matter. Nothing you can say will make the situation any better. It might even make things worse, because even though you have already been convicted, you can always be charged with something else. Taking advantage of medical care. If you have enough time, take advantage of medical care while you're still out of prison. Medical care and quality of it are significantly better outside than inside prison, and some treatments may not even be available once you're in prison. Consider having a dental checkup before you self-surrender and get anything important fixed. If you wear glasses, you may want to have an eye exam and get new lenses if you need them. Reading material. Line up some reading material. Most federal prisons allow magazines and books to be sent to inmates on the condition they are sent directly from the publisher or a retailer like Amazon. If you're self-surrendering and you know which prison you're going to be in, consider taking out a subscription for magazines or ordering a couple of books from Amazon to read. It's best to do this a couple of days before you self-surrender. You can also give your friends and family a shopping list of books and magazines for them to order for you. Keep your guard up. If you are sent to a holdover facility or a prison camp, you should stay alert. If you are placed in transit to prison, you may be sent to a holdover facility. The facility you are sent to may be determined by whether you are designated for a low, medium, or high-level prison. Some of the living conditions in these facilities are not ideal, such as being placed in a two-man cell with up to 3 other inmates for 23 hours a day, being allowed out to rec in an enclosed area for 1 hour, and only being allowed to shower for 5 minutes twice a week. Each facility has its own rules, so it's best to be prepared for the extreme conditions you may face and be cautious during this time. Learn the rules. Find out as much as you can about how the system works in the prison you will be in. If there is an official rule book for the prison, read it. You can be punished for breaking the rule that you didn't know existed. Breaking the rules will not only aggravate personnel, but inmates as well, and will make life harder for everyone. Bringing money with you. Bring with you to prison the maximum amount of money that you are allowed to. You may be allowed a certain amount of money, up to $500, and you will be able to use this money to buy supplies you may need while incarcerated. This is called putting money on your books. You will need money for supplies such as stamps, envelopes, snacks, and also hygiene supplies. Don't bring cash with you, as it will be confiscated. It's best to go in with a U.S. Postal Service money order, as they are widely accepted in all prisons. Remember not to let anyone know that you have money. Pretend that you're poor and penniless. That way, there's no danger of other prisoners trying to extort money from you. Trust no one. Now that we're done with the topic of preparation for prison, it's time to cover the topic of surviving prison. First things first, trust no one. This includes guards, other prison officials, and the person in the cell next door. If someone is being nice to you, ask yourself whether he has no ulterior motive. Nothing is natural in prison as outside, nor it is free. If someone gives or loans you something, you will probably have to pay it back with some rate or interest added. If you can't pay, they may demand a favor that could get you into big trouble, so be cautious. Don't express emotions. If you want to look tough, then don't show fear, anger, happiness, or pain. Emotions are your worst enemy because they reveal your weaknesses. Don't allow the inmates nor the guards to spot weakness on you. If someone can figure out what makes you angry, they can use that knowledge to manipulate you. In the same way, if someone knows what makes you happy, they can try to ruin it for you. Stay cool and don't express emotions. Use your cellmates. Don't be overly friendly with your cellmates, but do ask some questions. Some probably were in prison before can inform you about the prison you are being sent to, as well as the system itself. Whether to believe everything they say or not is up to you. Use common sense and try to figure out if that person has a reason to lie or mislead you. Some convicts try to intimidate new inmates or mislead them for fun, so again, be careful. Choosing your words. Anything you say to guards or prisoners, no matter how innocent you think it is, can be used to hurt you, manipulate you, or be taken out of context. Try not to discuss dangerous conversational topics, otherwise, it can easily get you into trouble. Stay clear of subjects like religion, politics, racial issues, or your own personal feelings about someone or their family and friends. Also, don't refer to the people doing time with you as inmates. Some of the prisoners may have a short temper, or mentally ill, of low intelligence, or just plain bad, yet they look like regular guys, so mind your words to anyone. You can easily be misunderstood or deliberately misquoted by someone who's trying to provoke trouble. What started out as a petty argument over a trivial issue can turn into someone bearing strong personal grudge against you. Don't be paranoid. Just be aware that things may not be what they seem, and don't believe everything you hear or that some prisoners tell you. Be polite. Always be polite and respectful to guards and other prison employees. Don't give them a reason to hate you, as they will make your life even harder than it already is. Some are good people, others can be jerks, but always remember whose side they're on, and it's not yours. Remember, as far as you're concerned, the staff are always right and you need to do what they say. Even if you know something is wrong, follow the order. You can always address it later if it bothers you. Don't stare at other prisoners. Don't stare at other prisoners because you don't know how the other person can and will interpret this. In prison, if someone stares at you, it usually means they feel intense hostility or disapproval towards you. Also, staring is a way of showing sexual interest. It's okay to look at people, but don't stare at them. Another thing to remember is when you're walking to your cell, do not stare into the other prisoner's cells. This is considered an invasion of privacy and get you into big trouble. Don't be a snitch. People who tell tales to the guards or other prisoners are despised by everyone and can be physically attacked. The best thing you can do in prison is to see everything, hear everything, and say nothing. If a guard asks you about an incident involving other prisoners, claim that you were looking the other direction, that you didn't notice or hear anything. This may irritate the staff, that you aren't willing to share information. They will likely understand, knowing what prison is all about. Also, don't let others see you getting along with prison staff, as other prisoners could assume that you are a snitch. Remember not to talk to prison staff more than necessary. Don't ask the staff to solve your problems. Never go to the staff asking for help with issues you may have, as you'll start having problems with inmates in this case. If you go to staff with a problem, the only thing they can do for you is put you in the secure housing unit as a protective custody inmate, and that will cause you trouble throughout your entire incarceration. If you complain to staff, you're stuck in no man's land between the staff and inmate, and neither will help you. Being placed in the secure housing unit. Ask to be placed in the SHU only in extreme circumstances. You can always ask to be put in the hall for your protection. It's extremely unpleasant, but it's relatively safe. Don't ask for this kind of protection unless you fear for your life, because if you go to the SHU, you'll spend 99.9% of your time locked inside a cell. Don't join a prison gang. Be mindful of gang members, but avoid joining a gang, as gang members are soldiers and gang leaders demand absolute loyalty. If you join a gang, you may be ordered to do something that will keep you in prison a lot longer. A gang member has no choice, because aside from getting out of prison, there's only one way to quit a prison gang while in prison, and it is to die. Show allegiance to your race. If you wish to survive in prison, you should immediately show your allegiance to your race, but without joining a gang. This means that whichever race you are associated with, you seek them out first and introduce yourself. Get to know inmates of your race first, especially the important figures within your race. You can be friendly with people of other races after that. Look for people from your own town. Federal facilities may have inmates from all over the country. You can do an inmate search prior to turning yourself and be able to look through the prison inmate listing to see if you know anyone where their home state is. When you get to your designated facility, you need to find other inmates who are from your city or state. These are your homeboys. They will usually help you with things you have an immediate need for. Personal space. Respect the personal space of the other prisoners and don't let them invade yours. You will be tested, and if you allow others to get too close to you for comfort, they will keep getting closer. Have respect and never reach over someone else's plate to get to the pepper, salt, and so on. With that said, don't allow others to reach over your plate either, or you'll look like a pushover. Also, don't use or touch other prisoners' stuff unless you're told it's okay. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed our video, please like and subscribe to support our channel. We truly appreciate it. For more interesting videos, visit our channel. For useful articles about survival and off-grid living, visit our site. Have a wonderful and safe day.